Hi, everyone, and welcome to the 2.2 lesson, which is an introduction to problem solving. In the last section, we looked at solving linear equations in one variable. So in these next two sections, we're going to look at applications of linear equations, specifically looking at word problems and how we can create equations to solve those problems. So one of the first very important steps in problem solving is being able to translate the words into algebraic expressions that you can either simplify or solve. So in this first example, we need to write the following as algebraic expressions and then simplify. Okay, so simplify means to combine like terms. We're not actually solving for a specific variable. This first problem, they're going to talk about consecutive integers, and you may see that term used throughout the book in certain areas. And you need to remember that consecutive integers are just integers that follow one another in order. Okay, so an integer, remember, is just a signed whole number. So the whole numbers, remember, are 0 and all the positive numbers, not including any decimals. And when we say signed, we mean positive or negative. So starting with 0, your integers could be like 0, 1, 2, 3. Those would be consecutive integers. They're one right after the other, okay, and so on. And then if you go backwards, -1, -2, and so on. So here we're looking for the sum of three consecutive integers if x is the first consecutive integer. So what we need to do is translate this into an algebraic expression. So we've got our first integer, and sum means to add. So we're going to be adding the first integer plus the second integer plus the third integer. So if my first integer is x, how would I get to the next integer? So let's say x is 1. If I want to go to the next integer, it would be 2. How do I go from a 1 to a 2? You're just going to add 1. So I'm taking that first integer and adding 1. Okay, if I go back to that first integer, let's say it was 1. How do I get to 3? How do you go from a 1 to a 3? You would add 2. So to get the third integer, it would just be x plus 2. Okay, and so on. And remember, sum means add. So I'm going to add those terms together. Okay, I'm going to collect my like terms. So my like terms would be x, x, and x. So if I add those, I get 3x. My other like terms are 1 and 2. They're your constants, and if you add them, 1 plus 2 gives you 3. So simplified, that expression would be 3x plus 3. In the next problem, it says the perimeter of a triangle with sides of length x, 5x, and 6x minus 3. So perimeter, remember, is the distance around a figure. You're dealing with the outside of the figure. Okay, so think of like perimeter alarm. It's an alarm that will go off if you try to enter a building from the outside. Or a fence would go around the perimeter of your property. So perimeter is distance around. So if I want to find the distance around that triangle, I would need to take each of those lengths, and again, I'm going to find their sum. I'm going to add them. So to get the perimeter, I'm going to have x plus 5x plus 6x minus 3. And to simplify, I'm going to combine my like terms. So if I scan that really quick, I see I have a bunch of x's, x, 5x, and 6x. So if I add them, remember there's a 1 here with the x that we don't see. That's the coefficient. So 1x plus 5x plus 6x is actually 12x. And then I'm going to carry down that -3 because there's nothing else to combine it with. So the perimeter there would just be 12x minus 3. The check your understanding problems you can try on your own. I will give you the answers though. So the answer you should get for this one is 3x plus 6. And for B, you should get 7x plus 1. And also, again, please feel free to pause the video at any moment to work out these problems on your own and then compare with what I do. In the next problem, there is a typo here, which I'm going to add in, and I didn't realize until I was working out the problem myself that there was something left out. So if you would like to pause the video and just read the problem to yourself, where it says right here, New York, comma, so I'll draw an arrow, you need to make sure you put and Tokyo's population is twice that of New York, decreased by 3.8 million. So it says an urban area is a continuous landmass of urban development that is within a labor market. The most populous urban area in the United States is New York, although it is only the 9th most populous in the world. Tokyo, Yokohama is the most populous urban area. Delhi, India is 3rd in size. Delhi's urban area population is 8.7 million more than that of New York, decreased, and Tokyo's population is twice that of New York's population, decreased by 3.8 million. Write the sum of the population of these 3 urban areas as an algebraic expression. Let X be the population of New York in millions. Okay, so I'm looking for, again, sum means to add. I've got New York plus Delhi, India, plus Tokyo. So it told me that New York's population should be represented by X. So now I need to convert Delhi's population in terms of X. It says Delhi's urban area population is 8.7 million more than that of New York. So New York, we don't know what that population is. That's just X. Delhi's is 8.7 more. So I'm going to put X plus 8.7 for Delhi, because it's whatever New York says plus 8.7 million more. Plus, Tokyo's is twice that of New York. What does twice mean? It means to multiply X by 2. And then it says decreased by 3.8 million. So to decrease means to subtract. So this is my expression. It's not simplified. If you go through, you can count the x's. You've got an x plus a 2x. So that's 1x plus 1x plus 2x, which would give me 4x. And 8.7 and negative 3.8 are like terms. So 8.7 plus negative 3.8 gives me 4.9. So I have 4x plus 4.9. Underneath, I have a strategy. It's a general strategy. It's not a one-size-fits-all for every problem, but it's definitely something to keep in mind as you are working through these problems. So the very first thing you would want to do is understand the problem, okay? And we do that by reading the problem, and it's okay to reread it again, or even a third time, until you understand what's going on. Try to propose some kind of strategy. Okay, if you can, draw some kind of picture or even write it out in words, okay, which is what I did. Then you want to choose a variable to represent the unknown, so you can use any variable you want. And as we've been doing, you're going to translate the problem into an equation, okay, and then solve the equation if it asks you to solve it. So in this last problem, it didn't ask us to solve it, asked us to simplify. So that just means combine your like terms. And then it's also important to interpret your results and check your answer. So a lot of times we'll get answers and we don't check them, so you don't know whether it's accurate. And we also don't know how to interpret our answer, like what exactly did you find? Okay, so that's very important when you're solving problems. Okay, let's look at an example now where we actually have to solve. So we'll go back to the number problems, okay? And if you would like, you can pause the video and read the example, and then unpause it when you're ready to work it out. Find three numbers such that the second number is 3 more than twice the first number, and the third number is 4 times the first number. The sum of the three numbers is 164. Okay, so I've got three numbers here. We're going to first define those. So my first number, and my second number, and my third number. So it says the second number is 3 more than twice the first number. Well, that's not very helpful because I don't know what the first number is. So the first number is going to be my unknown. We'll call that x. Okay, the second number now I can express that using x. It says it's 3 more than twice the first number. So 3 more than means add. Twice, remember from the last problem, means multiply by 2. So that second number is 3 plus 2x. Or you can even write that as 2x plus 3. And then the third number is 4 times the first number. Again, I don't know what the first number is, but I know the third one is 4 times it. So the third number is going to be 4x. The problem tells me that the sum of the three numbers is 164. So I'm going to take my three numbers, which are represented by the following: x plus, let me do it like this, x, 2x plus 3, and 4x. Okay, sum means add, so I'm going to add them. And it says it is 164. Is usually means equals, so you're going to put an equal sign. Okay, and then now I'm going to solve. So I'm going to do what I did before, except this time I'm going to isolate the variable. So the first thing I'm going to do is combine my like terms. And as you can see here, you've got an x, a 2x, and a 4x. And if I add them, I get 7x. Okay, remember, there's a 1 here that we don't see. And then the only constant, the number that's by itself, is just 3. So I'm going to carry everything else down. And now I need to get x by itself. So to isolate it, I want to move that plus 3 to the other side first. And to do that, we're going to use an inverse property. So since it says plus 3, the inverse of adding is subtracting. Okay, so I'm going to do the opposite. Remember that an equation's balanced. So if I subtract 3 from one side, I have to subtract it from the other. And those 3's will cancel out. And I get 7x equals 164 minus 3 is 161. Okay, now I still have that 7 with the x, and I don't want the 7 there. I want x by itself. So I need to now look at my expression. It says 7 times x. So when I'm multiplying, the inverse is divide. So I'm just going to divide everything by 7. And 161 divided by 7 gives us 23. So I know x is 23. Okay, now what is the problem asking for? It's not asking for x, it's saying find three numbers. So I need to now figure out what those three numbers are. So I'm going to take x and I'm going to substitute it back in. So I know my first number we said was just x. Well, x is 23, so my first number has to be 23. The second number is 3 plus 2 times x. Well, again, x is 23. So I'm going to do 3 plus 2 times 23. Remember, order of operations tells you have to multiply the 2 and the 23 together first. So 2 times 23 is 46. And if I add 3 plus 46, I get 49. So the second number is 49. And then the third number is 4 times the first. So my first is 23. So 4 times 23 gives me 92. So the three numbers are 23, 49, and 92. And if you add them, you should get 164. Again, any of the check your understanding problems are for you all to work out, but I will give you the answers. So you should get 37, 111, and 87 for your three numbers. Okay, let's try the next one. Suppose that a computer store just announced an 8% decrease in the price of a particular computer model. If this computer sells for $2,162 after the decrease, find the original price of the computer. Okay, so I'm looking for the original price. That's my unknown, so that's going to be my X, or whatever you want to call it. We can call it P for price. It told me that there's an 8% decrease in the price of that model, so that's called a discount. My discount is 8% off the price, right? So it's 8% of the price that the computer was. Okay, again, I don't know what that price is. And I also need to convert 8% to a decimal. So right now the decimal point's there. And to convert that to a decimal, I need to move the decimal point back 2 places to the left. And anywhere there's a hole, you're going to fill in a 0. So 0.08 is 8% as a decimal, and it's 8% of the price is being taken off. Okay, now if you're confused by that, let's throw some numbers in to see if it makes more sense. All right, so let's look at it like this. Let's say you are going to buy a shirt for $20. Okay, that's the original price. And let's say I'm giving you an 8% discount. So what you would do is you would take that price, which is $20, and you would multiply it by 0.08. Okay, so that would be not a very big discount. It would come out to be about 16 cents. Sorry, $1.60. $1.60. Okay, so that's the discount. So now what would you be paying? Like what would you be paying now? You would be paying 20 minus 1.60. Okay, so that would give us $18.40. Okay, that is your sale price. So what we need to do is we need to work backwards. Here's our sale price. So I'll add that over here. Okay, that was after the discount. So the computer is now $2,162. We have to figure out what it was before the discount. So in other words, you're given $18.40. How do you go backwards to figure out it was $20 as the original price? So we're going to make an equation. Okay, so let's put this into words. What did we just do there? We took our original price, we subtracted the discount, and we made that equal to the sale price. So I'm just going to fill in everything I have here. My original price is P, my discount is 0.8P, and the sale price is $21.62. And now I'm going to solve. So P minus 0.08P, so remember that's 1 minus 0.08, that's 0.92P. Okay, when I get to this step, how do I get P by itself? So remember when we did the last problem, it's very similar to this step right here. Okay, you're multiplying. So to undo that, we need to divide. So I'm going to divide both sides by 0.92. And when you do 2162 divided by 0.92, you get 2,350. So that's the original price. The original price of the computer was $2,350. So that was before the discount was applied. Okay, so I'm going to write that in words here. Okay, so the original price of the computer was $2,350. And if we prove that using a calculator, so by the way, I did provide you all a calculator in your modules in Canvas, so this would be a good time to use it. I can do the scientific calculator. Okay, let's see if it'll open on here. Okay, you're just going to click sign in. Actually, you're not, just kidding. This might not work on here. No, it does. It should let you just sign in, so I don't know why it's not doing that. But at any rate, let's just go to Desmos. So if you've never downloaded this app before, Desmos, it's really a great app. It's free, and it's simple to use. Okay, so if I want to check my answer now, let's see if it makes sense. So the original price should be more than the sale price, right? Because this is before the discount. So we would just take $23.50, and now I'm going to subtract 0.08 times $23.50. And it should give me the sale price, which it does say in the problem is $21.62. Okay, so it's always good to check. Okay. In the last example, it says a pennant in the shape of an isosceles triangle is to be constructed for the Valencia College Athletic Club and sold at a fundraiser. The company manufacturing the pennant charges according to perimeter, and the athletic club has determined that a perimeter of 149 centimeters should make a nice profit. If each equal side of the triangle is twice the length of the third side, increased by 12 centimeters, find the lengths of the sides of the triangular pennant. So first of all, we've got an isosceles triangle. And if you remember back in geometry, an isosceles triangle is a triangle that has two equal sides, at least two equal sides. So I'm going to pretend that this side and this side are the equal sides. And then the one that I didn't mark is just your third side. Okay, it says if each equal side of the triangle is twice the length of the third side. Do we know how long the third side is? No? Okay, so we're going to call that n this time. Okay, we'll change up letters. So each equal side is twice the length of the third side. So twice would be multiplied by 2, increased by 12. Increased means to add. So each equal side is going to be 2n plus 12. Okay, the problem also told me that the perimeter should be 149 centimeters. So remember, we talked about perimeter, it's the distance around a figure. Okay, so we're going to add up the length of each side. So I'm going to have 2n plus 12 plus another 2n plus 12 plus n equals 149. Okay, now you see these 2n plus 12s? I've got one right here and I've got one right here. Another way to write that is just 2 times the quantity n plus 2n plus 12. Okay, there's just two of them. You don't have to do that, but that is another way of writing that. Okay, so I'm going to put that off to the side here and just put the word or, because that's another way you could have written it. Okay, now I'm going to simply combine like terms. What are my like terms? I've got 2n plus 2n plus n. So if I add them, you get 5n. And then I have a 12 and a 12. 12 plus 12 gives me 24, and then equals 149. Okay, now we're going to do what we did in a similar problem, right? We're going to get n by itself. So since I'm adding 24, I need to subtract 24 from both sides. And the 24 minus the 24 will cancel. You get 5n equals 149 minus 24 is 125. And then in the last step, I need to get rid of that 5. So I'm multiplying. I'm going to do the inverse. I'm going to divide both sides by 5. Because 5 divided by 5 is 1, you're left with 1n. So you would get n equals 125 divided by 5. So that's 25. Okay, now, what did the question ask for? It says find the lengths of the sides of the triangular pennant. Okay, so I know one of the sides, I already found it, it's n. So that was the third side, right? The third side is n, and n is 25. So I know it's 25 centimeters. The first and second side are the same. It's 2n times, or plus 12. So I'm going to do 2 times n plus 12 for both of them. So again, I want to do order of operations. I have to multiply before I can add. So I have to do 2 times 25 first, which is 50. 50 plus 12 gives me 62. So I know that's 62 centimeters, and the second side is the same. So I've got 25 centimeters, 62 centimeters, and 62 centimeters. And if you add those, you will get 149, which is the perimeter. Okay, and the last one you can try on your own. You're looking for 3 consecutive odd integers whose sum is 81. And the integers you should get are 25, 27, and 29, right? They're odd integers. Consecutive means in order. Okay, if you add those, it should come out to 81. All right, hope you all enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to help. And make sure you do your homework. Have a good day, everyone.